I wanted this song to be about how much I needed a wild night out. It's true, in a way, but not in the way I wanted. 6 signs for I'm seeking and driving right past Stockton, putting out in my stomach, and I can hardly stomach the idea of food. But God, am I thirsty? And tonight Cody turns 30, and I can't think of a better time to relax. But alas, it's my responsibility to get these boys home safely. So help me God, if that isn't what happens, I know what will happen. If I put that drink to my lips and let my disease get hold of the poison, they'll leave this as they're calling their lip. And if I don't die, I'll wind up in prison, 'cause that's what happens when you smell the bay and see the bright ray of light. You know you'll be gambling on having a good time. I'm staring at a screen with tropical fish that's making all kinds of noises. Sure sounds like I'm winning, but that number's decreasing. I know I'm due for a big one, so I'm taking out my wallet. I know it's gonna happen. Come on, any second now. Please don't tell me I have a problem with this too. I have a problem with this too. And I know I can never walk at the right time. I'm always walking a fine line. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so.
Okay, moving right along here. Week 5, Atlantic Shitty. It's funny, I've tried to do this podcast thing like fucking 5 different times, and I have yet to make it past burned. So this is a new step for me. Basically, what Atlantic Shitty boils down to is this is a song that I would have written for All Shucks, and it's a song that, I mean, it would have been way better if it was an All Shucks song. I mean, the drums, like the drum parts are cool for the most part. I'm sure Chris would have done something a little cooler. But yeah, I mean, I think the drums were, what I would have done and what Chris would have done would have been pretty similar. Obviously, Jack would have played bass either way. I think the main difference is, especially what Atlantic Shitty was lacking, is just a Dylan Walker fucking lead. I had some decent leads in that band that I wrote for his songs, and I've written decent leads, over the years for my songs, but yeah, that, I don't know. Like, Dylan would have just done something a million fucking times cooler. And another thing that would have happened if it was an All Shucks song and not a song that I had to crank out in like 4 days, I would not have let so many of those lyrics in the verse stay. Just kind of riffing on classic alcoholism type things. And I don't think anything I said isn't true. I just thought like the whole like let my disease get a hold of the poison, and they'll be pissed as they're calling their lift, and if I don't die, I'll wind up in prison. Like, it's just like so fucking cringe to me. Um, but I don't know. As much as I look back and think it's cringe, I really needed to write it because it was a tough night for me. I, really had considered relapsing. Um, yeah, it's just what was on the mind. Something I think is interesting is that this is something I was never able to do successfully in the past, was write all the lyrics before the song. And I did it with this song. I remember being really excited about that. And I guess it's just the fact that like for every for every two good lines, there's like one bad line. Um, which I think is funny because it's like I always wanted to write lyrics before anything else because I feel like you can say whatever you want and it's a lot easier to be poetic that way than just kind of improvising within a melody. Um, but it's just funny because with all the freedom in the world, I wrote some fucking cringe ass lyrics. But I guess it's really only those couple lines I mentioned because everything else I think is cool and holds true. And essentially, the story with this one was I was at work and my buddy, three of the dudes I work with, my friend Cody, it was his birthday, and his younger brother Dusty came with us, and my friend Darius. And we were all like, yeah, like, we're just going to fucking go to Atlantic City tonight for Cody's birthday. So, yeah, they invited me, and it was cool. And it was, I think it was, like, the first time I hung out with them outside of work. So, it felt really good in that regard. Like, wow, I finally made some friends at this job, and that's cool. So, I was really excited. But it had just been a long time since I had been around. Like, I had been around plenty of drugs and alcohol in sobriety. I hadn't been around people I didn't know that well, like drinking and smoking pot while in sobriety. And that's kind of my thing, is like I'm kind of like uncomfortable and a little awkward, a little shy at first. And I always used alcohol to come out of my shell, and I used weed as a form of like bonding with people. Plus, it's like if you roll up somewhere where there's potheads and you have a bunch of weed that you're willing to share, it's really easy to make some friends that way. So this was just the total opposite, where I'm like, well, I know these people like me for me because they've only ever seen me sober, but I don't know how to act in these situations. So yeah, I was just feeling like really kind of like uncomfortable with myself and uncomfortable in my sobriety. Um, and to top it all off, we're just like driving down, like the way that we took to the casino was pretty much like right through all the same areas that I had. How do I say this? Like, basically, when I was first with my ex, she was living in Mays Landing, and I live in Mount Holly, which is like, it's got to be like an hour, at least like an hour away. So I hadn't been down that way since the breakup, and it was just like all these little things. Like, we drove past Stockton, which is where she went to school, and yeah, I don't know. It'd been a good while since the breakup, but I had kind of been avoiding anything that made me think of her, and so I was just like, it's just like that combination of being super uncomfortable sobriety wise and then getting hit with all these things there, like that, like I I knew they hadn't healed, but I was doing an incredible job of avoiding them. Um, and here I was with these dudes and just got smacked with it all. Um, so yeah, that was it's kind of the concept there, and then getting on with the story. Um, we were playing this slot machine with these tropical fish, and like the lyrics say it all. Like it's making all kinds of noises. It sure sounds like I'm winning, but that number's decreasing. And then I kind of go on to talk about like that classic like gambling shit. Like like I'm due, man, I'm due. And I just kept just kept fucking putting money in the slot machine. I lost a bunch of money on that specific slot, and then I was like, it's fine. Like I'm gonna go play blackjack and kick ass and make it all back. And I'm like, I only play black. This is what my whole narrative. I don't play fucking slots because there's nothing involved. Like, yeah, like with blackjack, like the dealers, like the odds are so the house wins, but there's skill and strategy involved. There's a way to play the game. So I like to play blackjack. So I feel like I at least, um, have some bit of control over what happens. I'm like, oh, well, like, yeah, I shouldn't have hit here, or I should have hit here, so I deserve to lose this money. Like, that feels a lot better than pulling a fucking arm and just being like, ring, ting, 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 you're fucked and broke. Um, so, yeah, that was kind of this one, and I literally, as a Friday, I pissed away the entire paycheck, put myself in financial fuckery, and just had a moment where I was like, oh my God, I fucking have an issue with gambling too. Are you kidding me? I don't think that proved to be true. I think if I was like a true fucking gambler, I would have been to the casino more than like 3 or 4 times since then. But that was just kind of what was going through my head at the time. So yeah, as much as it was nice to hang out with the work friends, I just like I took a lot of emotional L's that night. So, yeah, song aptly titled Atlantic Shitty. Love that name. I couldn't believe it hadn't been done. I was like looking, I'm sure maybe somewhere like in the depths of the internet it's been done, but I was poking around on Spotify and I think even Bandcamp too, and I didn't see it. I was like, no fucking way. Atlantic Shitty, that's a great song name. So the funny part was that Colby and I was like, dude, I can't think of anything else for a picture that I want other than this fucking stupid game with the tropical fish. And so we drove all the way back down to the Trop, like in Tropicana, like an hour and a half away. And I totally cried for like half of the ride down for like, like breakup reasons. I was just in Colby's passenger seat, like, it was funny. It was not at the time, but it's fucking hilarious now. So yeah, that was the story. We drive all the way back down there, and I swore I was gonna lead us right to it, but I could not find this fucking thing. It's like, I know we're in the right casino. Like, where are the tropical fish? And so finally we find it. We take the picture. Played a couple hands of blackjack. I didn't lose any more money. And yeah, went home. Felt like I purged a little bit of all that, which was good. And yeah, I think that wraps it up for this one. I don't know if I talked about recording anything recording wise. It I don't think there was anything particularly interesting other than that one part when you smell the bay and see the bright array of lights, the like harmonics bouncing back and forth between the ears, I thought was cool. Um, and for as stupid as a riff as like blink, 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 like I was like, this sounds like a fucking surf rock song. But I was like, it kind of plays to the tropical fish lyric, so I'll roll with it. And then the way it opened up at the end, I was like, this song has some merit. It's it's got some moments. I don't think it's near the top for me. It's definitely not near the bottom because I think the end goes hard. But yeah, that's Atlantic Shitty. That's all I got.